स्नेहा मिली ना? स्नेहा मिली ना? स्नेहा मिली ना? हाँ अभी आगे निकल आना।
फिलहाल तो नहीं हो रहा है, स्ट्रीम बंद होगा। फिलहाल तो स्ट्रीम चल रहा है।
अभी आगे निकल आना।
फिलहाल तो स्ट्रीम चल रहा है।
अभी आगे निकल आना।
फिलहाल तो स्ट्रीम चल रहा है।
अभी आगे निकल आना।
फिलहाल तो स्ट्रीम चल रहा है।
अभी आगे निकल आना।
फिलहाल तो स्ट्रीम चल रहा है।
अभी आगे निकल आना।
फिलहाल तो स्ट्रीम चल रहा है।
अभी आगे निकल आना।
फिलहाल तो स्ट्रीम चल रहा है।
Dr. Nisikant are about to speak. Welcome, teachers, and dear friends. My name is Shalini Singh. My name is Igshid. Today we take a consideration using sexual artificial I love the expression of joy, curiosity, all pieces of developing so without wasting any time, let's get going. Welcome, teachers, and dear friends. My name is Shalini Singh. My name is Igshid. Today we take a consideration of sexual artificial I love the expression of joy, curiosity, all pieces of developing so without wasting any time, let's get going. Welcome, teachers, and dear friends. My name is Shalini Singh. My name is Igshid. Today we take a consideration of sexual artificial I love the expression of joy, curiosity, all pieces of developing so without wasting any time, let's get going. Welcome, teachers, and dear friends. My name is Shalini Singh. My name is Igshid. Today we take a consideration of sexual artificial I love the expression of joy, curiosity, all pieces of developing Sure, I will ask the technical team to get
When the person is educated as to what has learned, how to learn, how to change, psychology. There are medical institutions that learn how to learn. One of them is Thakur College of Science and Commerce, situated located of Nisikant National Park in Mumbai. Here's a brief tour of this amazing institution called TCSC, Thakur College of Science and Commerce. Started in 1997 with 56 students. Now, the seven-story building is a second home for over 15,000 students. It's among the few colleges in India which has got autonomous status because of its potential for excellence. It's affiliated to the University of Mumbai and UGC NAC, accredited with grade A. A proper ambience and a good infrastructure is a necessity for teaching learning to take place. It has more than 100 classes, science and IT labs, art media labs, a fully furnished auditorium, and library. But these things are not the highlight of the presentation. The college assures two things. Number one, learning, and number two, overall development. College follows several methods of learning, like classroom learning, experimental learning, practical learning, peer-to-peer learning, learning from experts, learning from seniors, research, learning from seminars, learning from workshops, and learning how to learn. ECSE believes in follows the motto of overall development of the students. The students enthusiastically volunteer to join NCC, NSS, sports, culture, DLLE, and other forums to shape their personality. The One Maharashtra NCC unit college has produced several soldiers who are protecting the borders of Mother India in land, air, and several have been awarded and had the glory of walking on Rajpath Republic Day. The NSS unit of the college is renowned nationally for extending helping hands to other social causes. It also holds the record and was awarded for collecting the highest number of blood units. College planted more than 75,000 trees in Manoli, Vada, and Palghar itself record. College cricket stadium, football stadium, with students. Every sport has separate codes. Proper training is assured. This is the reason we stand at second position among 850 colleges of University of Mumbai in sport. We have been a champion record. College cricket stadium, football stadium, with students. Every sport has separate codes. Proper training is assured. This is the reason we stand at second position among 850 colleges of University of Mumbai in sport. We have been a champion record. College cricket stadium, football stadium, with students. Every sport has separate codes. Proper training is assured. This is the reason we stand at second position among 850 colleges of University of Mumbai in sport. We have been a champion record. College cricket stadium, football stadium, with students. Every sport has separate codes. Proper training is assured. This is the reason we stand at second position among 850 colleges of University of Mumbai in sport. We have been a champion record. College PCSC stands received among 850 colleges of University of Mumbai. 2018-19, the Economic Times also awarded TCSC with Entrepreneur Award in 2019. Our achievements are many, but the biggest and the most rewarding one is the bond we share with our students. Thank you. PCSC stands received among 850 colleges of University of Mumbai. 2018-19, the Economic Times also awarded TCSC with Entrepreneur Award 2019.
I would now like to call upon our Dean of Academics of Commerce Department, Dr. Mrs. Parul Singhal, to felicitate our honorable speaker, Mr. Umesh Ferwani.
Good morning, dear learners, and our respected dignitaries who came all the way to guide these Thakurites and other learners from different colleges. See, people talk a lot about BBI, how it is growing. This is the reason we found this is one of the growing department. किसी ने सही कहा है, अगर कोई हमारे पीठ पीछे बात करता है तो अगर कोई हमारे पीठ पीछे बात करता है तो हमें उस पर बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं देना चाहिए। हमें उस पर बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं देना चाहिए क्योंकि इसका सीधा अर्थ होता है कि हम उससे 2 कदम आगे हैं। I hope you must have understood the magnitude of this entire statement in context of BBI. Day by day, this department is growing under able leadership of Mr. Nirav Goda, who is the coordinator of department, and Ila ma'am, who is the core faculty of the department, and all the learners which you are finding here as a volunteer of this event and many events what they have conducted during the journey of their bachelor degree. Big round of applause for these. Dear student, it is not easy in today's world. We were talking with our dean, gathering so many learners. It required lot of planning, lot of efforts, lot of interaction for the guest speakers. And this all is making a learning for all the learners who are directly or indirectly involved in such activity, which is part and parcel of commerce. They learn everything as HR, as marketing, as finance. See, the curriculum is just to merely clear the exam. But when it comes to execute, until unless you will experiment them, until unless you are execute them by this different channels, which is made available by your teachers, by your coordinators, I think you are not going to learn this properly. These are the right channels. We are really thankful. I'm sure this is an inter-college event. We are really thankful to all those principals, vice principals, HODs, deans who have sent you all in this college for this event. Big round of applause for them. On behalf of entire Thakur College, on behalf of our respected principal ma'am, our trustee, of course they can just give us the infrastructure, all the facilities. It is on us how we are utilizing those resources. And I can vouch and guidance we need to work. Until they will teach us, we cannot be able to perform at our best over there. So this particular event, Banking Conclave, I think is from years, and every year there is, after lockdown, I think this is the first offline banking conclave, but I have seen during lockdown also this event was conducted. And this would have been possible only because of entire BBI learners and with their leaders. Yes or no? So they have not stopped even during COVID. During COVID also they have worked hard, they have created some kinds of arrangement, online arrangement, and accordingly they have made it feasible for learners through online. That's why I'm telling you this growth I have seen during COVID also, before COVID also, and today I am finding it after COVID also. With all respect from our seniors, from our principal, from our higher authorities, we wish this entire day will have very, very meaningful and fruitful deliberation for all the learners who are coming from across city of Mumbai in such a, peak hours, because this is the peak hours of Mumbai. Okay, they traveled, they came here. So really thanks to you all. Without you, it would not have been possible. And of course, greatest thanks goes to the speaker with their busy schedule. They came here, they are going to guide not only our learners, but many other learners of many other colleges. Thank you once again on behalf of TCSE family, and we always ensure that रिश्तों रिश्तों में प्यार की मिठास रहे, रिश्तों में प्यार की मिठास रहे, एक ना मिटने वाला एहसास रहे, रिश्तों में प्यार की मिठास रहे, एक ना मिटने वाला एहसास रहे। कहते हैं कहने को छोटी सी है ये जिंदगी, कहने को छोटी सी है ये जिंदगी, लंबी हो जाए अगर अपनों का साथ रहे। I'm taking leave. I do not want to between you and our renowned speakers. All the very best, and definitely communicate this message to our higher authorities, our respected principal. But this shows why BBI is growing. And all the very best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and enlightening us with all your knowledge. Now, I call upon our BBI coordinator, Mr. Nirav Goda, to felicitate our Vice Principal, Mr. Nisikant. Call upon our Dean of Academic of Commerce Department to be felicitated by our BBI faculty, Ms. Ila Gaglani. I would like to call upon our BBI coordinator, Mr. Nirav Goda, to speak a few words.
वीडियो लाइव नहीं है, बंद हो गया।
So everyone, hello and very good morning to all everyone. One and all present over here, our respected principal ma'am, Dean of Academics of Commerce, Vice Principal sir, honorable speakers, and my dear learners. It's a wonderful feeling for me to stand here and in front of you and take this opportunity to tell you about something about my college, about my department, and our flexible event banking conclave. Today, I am extremely happy to tell all the learners that this day marks the 7th edition of banking conclave. But before that, I would like to speak a few words about our prestigious college. Chapter College of Science and Commerce was established in the year 1997. The college has been felicitated with Pride of Maharashtra Award in 2002 at the hands of our Governor of Bombay. University of Mumbai have also honored a Best College Award in the year 1819. We are NEC accredited with grade A in the third cycle, and we have been conferred autonomous status in 1920 with the commitment towards exceptional educational standards and quality. Now let me tell you about my department, that is banking insurance. So it is with my extreme pride in stating the merits of my department. The department started in the year 2004 to give a platform to the students for additional avenue of self-employment and also benefit the industries by providing the trained professionals. The objective is to prepare the students to gain them a basic understanding of about what is banking, what is insurance, and what are the financial services which are allied in this journey. It also focuses on inculcating the training and practical approach by using the modern technology to the students of banking insurance. Now, let me tell you about Banking Conclave. Banking Conclave is a platform to develop the ideas for the future banking. Last year, we had a concept of, say, online banking and cryptocurrency. This time, we have come up with two important topics of banking. One is risk management in financial sectors and corporate communication. So now, before ending the speech, I would like to share one beautiful quote. Knowledge becomes power only when we put it into use. Thank you so much. And once again, I welcome all the students across the Bombay who have joined us, as well as the online participants, because we are on hybrid mode. Our conclave is live on YouTube also on our channel. So welcome to one and all present over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with all your knowledge and for all your kind words. Now, I would like to introduce our first guest speaker for the day, Mr. Jasneet Singh Bindra. Jasneet Singh Bindra is an experienced Jasneet Singh Bindra is an experienced country head working for CISI, Chartered Institute for Securities Investments, a Royal Chartered Professional certification body from the UK. Jasneet joined CISI in 2012 as manager, business development, overlooking the Indian market. Prior to the working with CISI, he has worked with Deutsche Bank, Financial Planning Board of India, and Prudential UK. He is an MBA from IMA, Belgium, with major in finance and minors in marketing from the batch of 2008 to 2010. He has completed his Bachelor's of Management Studies from Mumbai University. To ensure his continuous professional development, he has completed professional refresher courses on fintech, cybercrime, artificial intelligence, and machine learning from CISI. He is also a passionate speaker and has undergone training on negotiation, presentation skills, and understanding body language. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Jasneet Singh Bindra to speak a few words.
A very good morning to everyone. Firstly, it's a pleasure to be at the Thakur Institute of Science and Commerce. Interestingly, the year 2014, I don't know how many of them were there in terms of faculty. I had a small talk over here with the students at that point of time. And it's good to be back here after 8 years. My topic is on banking, risk in banking and financial services. However, I'll spend about 15 minutes talking about what my company does, which is CISI, and the remaining part of the presentation will talk about risk in financial services and banking as such. Okay, I would encourage an interactive session. If some of you all have got some answers to my questions, please raise your hand, and let's try to make it a more interactive session. It will benefit all of us, right? CISI actually stands for Chartered Institute of Security Investments. We are a London-based chartered body. We were formed in the year 1992 by the members of London Stock Exchange, right? And predominantly we were formed to cater to the capital markets in the UK, right? We are a not-for-profit organization, a registered charity in the UK, and all the profits that we earn are invested back in the education space, right? We have about 45,000 members every year all over the world, and interestingly, 20,000 of them are students like yourself. A lot of students who aspire to be a part of banking, financial services sectors, they take up our courses, which helps them bridge the gap between industry and academics, right? We do about 40,000 exams every year. It's an examination body. We cover each and every area of financial services, leaving aside insurance, right? So we cover front office, middle office, back office, all the specialist areas of financial services. Right? We call ourselves more on the domain side. And of course, it's formed by the Board of Trustees. We were given the Royal Charter by the Queen of England in the year 2008 for the good work that we've done in the financial services space, right? And our head office is in Mumbai, which is in BKC as well as Mumbai, right? Now, I want to ask you all a question. Anyone who has the answer, please raise your hand. And do we have a mic over there by any chance? No? Okay, when I ask you a question, what is professionalism according to you? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is professionalism? Anyone? By the way, you should take this question very seriously because a lot of interviewers, after a couple of years, will be sitting for placements, will ask you this question. And the answer which I have perhaps will be a very good one, that you can give to your interview. I strongly recommend people take a probably a screenshot or a picture of that slide. But anything that comes to your mind, what is professionalism? Anyone? It's okay, you can give wrong answers also. No one? Seriously? I mean, how many people we have over here? 400? You understand the definition of professionalism? Everyone? Okay, we have someone over there who's gathered the courage. I love the fact that pink shirt, so you're visible right from here. Yeah. Do we have a mic by any chance? Okay, if we don't have the mic, it's going to take some time. Tell me your answer and probably the volunteers can help me understand. Sorry? What do you say? Popular. Okay, great. The mic is coming to you.
Hello. Professionalism, according to me, is mental and physical balance and learning ability.
Learning, yeah, that's one word which I was looking for. That's right. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, we have someone over there.
Years of experience in a particular field.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Partly right. Yes. Anyone else? We see a few more hands go up over there. Discipline. Sorry, discipline. Yeah. All these are very good answers, but I'm looking for very specific answers out here. And I'm looking for three terms, so I hope I get them. Yeah.
To be expert in something.
To be an expert in that field.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do you become an expert? Let me ask you a question. How do you become an expert in that field?
By learning, by educating.
By educating, and when you educate yourself, what do you get? Yeah, that's the first word I got. What's the first word? Knowledge. For you to be a professional, you need to have the right knowledge. What is the second thing that is very important for a professional? You've got knowledge, I'm looking for two words. Yeah, thanks. I think I've got the answer, but yeah, you can go ahead.
The way you carry yourself, your attitude and the communication Skills, yeah, you mentioned skills, and I heard a couple of numbers going up. Skills, yeah. So, whatever knowledge you get, you have to maintain that knowledge, right? That's where the virtue of skill development. For example, I'm assuming most of you all will be in the second and third year of BPI right now. Yes? So, once you graduate, after completion of your BPI, you think your learning will stop over there? No, right? You have to continuously skill yourself and make sure you update your knowledge on a regular basis. Okay? So we got knowledge, we got skills. What is the third aspect or attribute for you to become a professional? Anyone? Otherwise, I'll just give the answer out because we don't have too much time. It's behavior, right? If you have the next slide. Professionalism is a combination of knowledge, skills, and right behavior. Right? So probably you can keep that in mind once you, are sitting across an interview table. You can tell this to your future prospective employers that you know. Knowledge is by the virtue of anything that you learn, you educate yourself, and what you're doing right now helps you attain the knowledge. For you to maintain that knowledge is equally important. You know, when my introduction was read out, I completed my MBA in the year 2009-10. But my learning did not stop. In fact, my learning increased after that because when I'm talking to senior people, it's very important for me to understand what is happening in the markets as of now, especially in the field of financial services. Right? Now, this slide basically talks about all our corporate clients. We work with about 110 corporate supporters all over the world, right? And they take up CSI courses for two reasons. One, upskilling their own employees, right? And secondly, they give the first preference to students who have completed the certification from the capacity building point of view. Do you know what is capacity building? Capacity building is, I provide them with students who already have the knowledge that the corporate wants. So that the corporate does not spend 6 to 8 months on training these students on various aspects of financial services. For example, regulation. I might throw some terms at you right now, which I'm sure you must have not heard about. Have you heard about FATCA, Basel 3, GDPR? Anyone know what is GDPR? Okay, GDPR is a general data protection regulation. Okay, let me ask you a simpler question, which I'm sure most of you will know. Who is the CEO of Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg. Now, do you all remember the footage where he was grilled by the Senate in the US a couple of years back? Why do you think he was grilled by the US Senate? What is the reason? Data leakage, yeah. So, according to the story, a lot of Facebook data was used to rig elections in the US and was sold to a company called as Cambridge Analytica, right? And that data was used to learn about the patterns of voters. And that's the reason he was grilled by the US Senate members in the year 2019. After that, GDPR came into the picture. GDPR is a general data protection regulation which talks about the fact that if I, as a consumer, am giving out data to a company, they cannot hold that data beyond a certain point of time. Right? Now, another example. How many of you all shop on Amazon over here? Most of you all? Okay, how many times have you noticed when you try to buy something on Amazon and suddenly that ad comes on Facebook or Instagram? Right? What is the reason? All these apps are free of cost? They are free of cost, right? You download them. But are they actually free of cost? How do these companies or social media companies make money? Ads, right? They get you to learn about a consumer pattern. For example, if I'm looking for Nike sneakers on Amazon, why do you suddenly you have this ad popping up on Facebook showing various types of Nike sneakers or that I might be interested in? That's what artificial intelligence does, right? It's an AI feature which has been featured just to make sure that it keeps nudging you, so that if you were half interested, now you keep looking at it and you are a compulsive buyer. You might not be interested in buying that, but they're buying, right? So these are some of the technologies which are being used to learn behavioral patterns of individuals, right? I'll not spend too much time on that, but yeah, of course, we We upskill the students, we upskill the employees who are working in these companies, and that's our bread and butter, CISM. We are the content builders, and our content is recognized by 75 regulators all over the world, right, including India, US, UK, Middle East, Southeast Asia. We quickly moving on. Next slide, please. This was actually the slide I was talking about. Professionalism is a combination of knowledge, skills, and behavior. We already covered that. Moving on. Let's come to the core topic for today. Now, when I say risk, what according to you is risk? Anyone? And I don't want the definition which is on the slide. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when I talk about risk? And risk, by the way, is not only limited to banking. Risk is something that we encounter every day of our lives. Everything is related to risk and how you manage it. But if you go by the definition, a bank risk is usually referred as a potential loss to a bank due to occurrence of particular events. Right? Now, these are also called as uncertainties, right? Events for which you don't plan, and some of these events you can actually plan, right? If someone asks you what is banking, if I ask you what is banking, banking is all about managing risk. I know they give out loans, they manage other things, but the core heart of banking is actually to manage risk. So, do you know what are different types of risk involved in the markets? What are different types of risk? Risk in itself is like an ocean, different types of risk categories. Anyone knows you all are learning what banking and insurance? You must have covered in insurance a lot of risk topics. Okay, I'll give you the first one. Have you heard about credit risk? Okay, what is credit risk? Has anyone over here taken an education loan? No, right? Yeah, okay, we only have one. So when you took the loan, right, they must have checked some background before giving the loan, and some documents would have to have been checked. And there's something which is very important when you get a loan. It's called as the CIBIL score. You know what is a CIBIL score? It is your entire credit history. So, for example, CIBIL score normally anything about 600, 650 is considered to be good. That means, taking my own example, I have got 3 loans which are going on right now: a car loan, sorry, 2 car loans, and a house loan. Okay. Now, when I default by any chance on any of the loans, my CIBIL score takes a hit. Right? If I miss a due date, or if I have not fulfilled a particular loan, my CIBIL score takes a hit. Now, if this CIBIL score goes beyond or below a particular level, that means I'm not eligible to get a loan. Right? So, whenever you're applying for a loan, the first thing that the bank will check is whether this person is credit worthy or not. Okay. Now, if you're someone who has been, paying your EMIs on time, the banks will call you probably every day to give you more loans, because they know for a fact that this person is maybe a white collar person who can pay off the loans on time, a normal person, right? However, we have seen multiple examples of faulty credit risk. Does that ring a bell? Who are these credit risk defaulters? Some very high profile credit risk defaulters in India. Vijay Mallya, Kingfisher Airlines. We had Nirav Modi also, right? And something happened in the year 2008. Are you guys aware about that in the US? It was called a global recession, right? It was also called the subprime crisis. Now, basically, what happened in the year 2008, a lot of loans were given to people who did not have capacity of paying those loans back. These are mortgages given to them, right? And this was done without proper background checks. And as a result, a lot of US citizens defaulted on their loans and they could not pay it back. And as a result, there was recession in the US, which impacted globally. And there were a couple of investment banks which had to shut shop. Do you know which investment banks had to shut shop in the year 2008? Has anyone heard about Lehman Brothers? Lehman Brothers had to shut shop. Other banks were almost, on the verge of closure. A very, very well-renowned investment bank in India right now, US-based investment bank called as Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs was bailed out by the US government, right? The reason being because they pulled up a few strings and they made sure that the bank doesn't collapse. That is the power of credit risk. The first one which I will talk about, right? Second is market risk. What is market risk? Anyone invest in stock markets over here? Anyone? A few people? So stock market, as you're aware, is a very volatile market, right? Sometimes goes up, sometimes comes down. Now, how do you manage that risk? You actually have to make sure you have the right set of knowledge, right? We have seen people lose a lot of money and make a lot of money in stock markets, right? So you have to factor in a lot of things when it comes to market risk. Right? So the second aspect I want to talk about was market risk, right? And the third one is operational risk. Everyone over here uses UPI, GPay, ATM, PhonePe. A lot of times these transactions get hanged, or the money gets deducted, but the transaction hasn't gone through, and then you panic and then you start calling up the GPay helpline, and and they tell you that within 2 weeks we'll try to refund your money back. Not right, they have to, of course, but that's all it is. These are operational risks which happen during transactions, right? Operational risks are also risks which are related to day-to-day working in an office. Now, we spoke about COVID, right? What happened in COVID? During COVID, a lot of people started working from home, right? So, do you think what's the difference between working in an office and working from home? The systems that you use sometimes, have got some softwares to protect you from a lot of unwanted sites. But when you come from, let's say, office Wi-Fi or an office lease line to a home Wi-Fi, a lot of these firewalls are not protected, right? And as a result, what happens is, you are exposing your laptops and your systems to potential cyber attacks and cyber threats, malware, phishing, and frauds, right? This is a very good example of operational risk that one has to keep in mind. And what are the remedies for that? You need to make sure that your laptops are protected with very difficult passwords. Meaning ki one day year, the year in which I was born will be my password. It has to be a combination of special characters and or numericals and all these things. That's why once you start working, your IT people will be behind your line to make sure your password is as complicated as possible, right? So that is on the operational risk. One risk which I did not mention about two risks which I didn't mention about was one. The other one is liquidity risk, right? And the last one is seismic risk. What is seismic risk? Things which you can't plan for. Events like earthquakes, events like a cyclone, right, which just disrupts, or events like COVID-19. No one predicted that, but it happened, right? We all were caught off guard. They're all parts of seismic risk, right? So I hope I've made some sense about the different types of risks that you encounter in your day-to-day life, right? Moving on. Now, what are the 5 steps of risk management? The first and the foremost, and the most important is identify the risk. As long as you don't identify the risk, you cannot do anything about it, right? In fact, I give you an example of what happened in 2008. The global recession happened. For every big company, there were only 2 risk and compliance officers. For example, if you got 5,000 employees, only 2 risk and compliance officers. But post 2008, it was an eye-opener for everyone. Risk and compliance became the top point of all the boardroom discussions. And every company made sure that they have a sizable risk department which looks after how a risk has to be tackled. In fact, in 2012, AC Nielsen had done a survey which spoke about what are the hottest professions in financial services, right? Risk and compliance was ranked number one. You know why? It's simple economics. High demand, low supply. So if I talk about in this room, how many of you all want to be risk officers? I'll see a very few hands go up. Why? Didn't think about it. But think about it, it's a profession, it's a niche profession where you can actually make the big bucks, right? Okay, I spoke about the first aspect, identify the risk. Second, analyze it. Try to find as much data as much possible as why is this particular risk might happen or occur, right? Third step is plan for it. And this is by the way for every organization. It's not only meant for financial services. You need to start planning, how you want to have a strategy to make sure that you tackle these risks, right? And these are the steps which are very important when you are preparing a project plan, right? Monitor or mitigate it is the fourth aspect, and the fifth one is you then execute and respond to it, right? So these are five crucial steps of risk management, and why these steps are taken, I'll talk about in the next slide. Because the five steps that you follow is the output of a good project, a successful project, right? Because you've taken the measures in control, and because you've acted and not responded, you were well prepared for what is going to be the consequences, right? First is it enables the success of your project. Now, you know what an investment bank does? Investment bank does the front office something called as mergers and acquisition, M&A. So, for example, if I have to buy a company, you know, investment banker will actually spend the most amount of time on the risk assessment of that company. What are the risk factors involved? That is where the five steps which I spoke about become into the picture, right? So it ensures that the project is a success. Secondly, it reduces the possible risk because you have identified the risk right at the outset, right? And of course, it maximizes the project outcome. And finally, it helps you win new business, right? So that's the reason that risk plays an extremely important part in every day-to-day life, and that's the reason you should also probably think about learning from all these things. We as an institute from CISI, we have a risk examination which is identified and recognized by RBI, right? So any public sector risk officer in India has to go through our risk and financial services examination. That's the kind of importance that they're given to this particular area, right? With that, I will wish you all the best, and thank you so much. It was a pleasure interacting with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening your knowledge amongst us. Now, I would like to introduce our second speaker for the day, Mr. Umesh Fairwani. Mr. Fairwani is an actor, model, MC, and author. He has authored three books on the mind and the body. He did his master's in psychology and neurology from Stanford University. He is a CPD qualified nutrition coach from Australia. Umesh sir has conducted seminars and workshops globally on the subjects of neurolinguistic programming, nutrition, and advanced communication skills. Now, I would please request sir to come up on stage and speak a few words for us.
Good morning or good noon. We are right at the periphery of that. Is it noon or is it morning? Good morning. Where's the energy? Okay, good. My slides are up there. So, guys, my name is Umesh Birwani. I've been here several times before at Harvard College. And thank you, Nirav, where you are. Thank you so much for inviting me. And this is the second banking conclave that I've been a part of. And what am I going to be talking about? But before I get into what I'm going to be talking about, I've been here for like 15 seconds. Yeah. And in the first 5 seconds, maybe I have the next slide, you've created a connection. May I have a hand in mind if possible? Here, I'd like you to see. Thanks. Check. Yeah. So in the first 5 seconds, each and every one of you created an opinion about me. It happened subconsciously, without you even realizing it. Somebody in the fourth row is thinking, is he wearing an orange suit or a peach suit? Somebody is thinking, यार सुबह सुबह का टाइम है इतनी एनर्जी, right? And some of you are thinking, यार कब खत्म होगा लंच का? Now it's happening consciously because I have brought it to your conscious mind. Alright? Next slide, please. So, how did you gather this information? Something which I specialize in. I'm a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, and I know I have lost 95% of you. What? Neuro what? So, in neuro-linguistic programming, we have something called Bcom, which is an acronym for visual, auditory, kinesthetic, gustatory, and olfactory. That is, in simple words, sight, sound, touch, taste, smell are 5 senses. So these 5 senses are enabling you to create an opinion or judgment about who you are interacting with. Does that make sense to you? Yeah? Yeah. Taste, I don't know how it applies. Smell, I don't know if you can smell my cologne right now, but the other 3 senses are very active. So, when I talk about these 5 senses, this is creating an impression in your mind. And the first question that comes into your mind is the next. Am I worthy of your attention? Should we give attention to this guy? Yes? Thank you so much. So, is he worthy of our attention? Should I pay attention to him? Is he going to give me some concrete information that is going to help me advance in my career or make a change? When I walk out of this room, am I going to take something along with me? Or is it just going to be one other presentation that I have attended? And that question lingers until I move forward, right? So, but until now, we are all on the same page, everybody? Excellent. Let's move ahead. You see, our brains are hardwired for connections. We are humans, right? So whenever we are in a social context, we are hardwired for connections. We are looking at similar mindsets. We are looking at what matches, what does not match. Subconsciously, we are thinking, should I create a friendship or a relation or a connection or a business possibility with this person? And all this is happening I would say safely 97% of the time subconsciously in your limbic brain. Your prefrontal cortex is the analyzing brain, which is taking in the information, but based on your filters, based on what you are thinking, what world you come from, each one has a different world. You know, there are 7 billion planets actually, I see. 7 billion worlds. We might be in the same planet, but our worlds are different. I perceive life differently. I look at life differently than what you look at life. And each one of us sitting in this room individually looks at life in a very, very different context. Depending on my childhood, depending on my upbringing, depending on my friends, my family, and many, many other factors. Moving on. Which brings me to the next idea of understanding face to face, which is analog, physical, you know, being face to face with each other versus a text. Imagine if I had not come here this morning and I had just sent a textual speech over here, which you had to come, sit over here, read, and go. Do you think it would have made any impact on you? Wow, intelligent students. Absolutely not. So there are two aspects to communication, which is one is face to face, analog, and one is digital. And I'm going to try and cover both of them so that you get a complete view of what is expected from you and what is possible. All right, let's move ahead. Anybody recognizes the structure here? Burj Khalifa. Yes. We are all in the quest to create magnificent structures. We want to be the architects of future. We want to gather as much technical data. We want to come across as people with a lot of information and knowledge. But that's like building a Burj Khalifa on a cloud. If there is no foundation to it, it's going to just. So we are just busy building floors on our Burj Khalifas of knowledge, technical skills, whereas the basics are missing. Or rather, our basics are clouded by a lot of misinformation. Everybody with me so far? Yes? Give me a nice loud yes here. Excellent. Let's move ahead. So, yes, like I just mentioned, basics of communication. Let's understand whether we talk about corporate communication. Corporate can also mean cooperate. What does cooperate mean? It means that let's come to a common mindset so that we can conduct some kind of a business. That's my interpretation. I could be way off what it actually means, but this is my interpretation of corporate communications. And you all are going to be belonging to the sector, the corporate sector. So communications, of course, is the key. And I'm sure your teachers here, your facilitators here, your trainers here, the experts who have come here have technically equipped you with the knowledge required. Am I correct? Yeah. Technically, you know what is strategic communication and what is internal communication, external communication, how to deal with grapevine, how to create a brand. All that book knowledge is already within you. What I'm going to help highlight in this little bit of time that I have with you is to create concepts of a different understanding of communication. All right, let's move ahead. So, like I mentioned, yeah, strategic communication, which let me clarify, it's not manipulation. Okay, most people think when I'm strategizing my communication, I'm manipulating somebody. No, it's not. All right, let's move ahead. So, analog versus digital was what I've mentioned to you. I'm going to spend the first part of this presentation just helping you understand analog communication because we are all on the digital highways. All of us are, right? Every person in this room who has a cell phone, please raise your hand. Who owns a cell phone? Wrong question. Anybody in this room who does not own a cell phone, raise your hand. Look around you. So we are already so digitized that we've forgotten a lot of basics. All right, let's move ahead. Let me share one story with you. Just 2 days ago, I sent a message to my mom that I'm getting late for lunch. So don't wait for me. I'll take another 15 minutes. Now, the stupid part of that entire text message was that I was just 20 feet away sitting in my bedroom. And I sent a message to her. And we do that, right? Because it's much easier to just inform. We find that much more easier to do, right? Just send a text message. It's easier to inform than to engage. And I should know better because I've spent the last 30 years of my life earning my bread and butter from different industries, all of which require efficient communication. So let's have the next slide. So I've been an MC. I host shows and award nights. I've done over 1,470 shows in over 39 countries as an MC. I have also been a stand-up comedian. Thank you for that. I've been a stand-up comedian. I've authored 3 books. I'm an NLP trainer. I've trained over 50,000 people in the art of life and mind management. So communication is what I specialize in. Communication is where my next paycheck is going to come from. So I need not only to be on top of my game, I need to be the best at this game. So I'm going to share a few strategies, tools, techniques, truths about communication that are going to really enhance the quality of knowledge that you already possess. Let's move ahead. Yeah, so these are my 3 books. Are You Out of Your Mind, which was launched by Sonu Nigam for my first book. Then the second one by Rajkumar Hirani ji, The Mind Switch. And very recently on my birthday, you can wish me now happy birthday. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks. It's not today. It's not today. Please let me complete. The book was launched on my birthday, which is on the 15th of June. And you can Google my name with the name of the book, Umesh Virwani Body Switch, and you can see all the celebrities who turned up for the book launch and them wishing me on my birthday. Let's move ahead. So I believe if I go down to basics, the very, very core basics of communication, I think there are 3 things that are non-negotiable. One is your energy. If I did not have the energy here or did not portray that energy to you, I wouldn't have got this energy, right? So it's all about the energy because I need to believe in order to make you believe. Does that make sense to you? Yeah? I need to believe to make you believe. Second, we have to have a clarity. I need to have a clarity with what is the purpose that I've come here with, what I'm going to impart to you. And if I'm not clear, then there's a lot of room for misunderstanding, which is going to not lead to clear communication. And the final one is empathy. Understanding, putting myself in your shoes, letting you know that I get you, I understand you. Does that make sense to you? All right, let's move ahead. So, like I mentioned, that we do have a lot of digital toys with us, and on this cruising on this digital highway, when we are just basically, so busy sending text messages and living life with this context of the digital age, we are losing out on something which is called empathy. And that is crucial in any communication, whether it's a normal life communication or whether it is your professional communication. Let's move ahead. And understanding that there are challenges that come along with this. All right. Going into the digital space, there are a lot of challenges that have come along. And we need to address these challenges. And how do we address them? First is creating the awareness, and then, of course, trying to overcome them. So, the first one is that the level of empathy has gone down, especially amongst the youngsters. Especially among the youngsters, the empathy levels have gone way, way down. Because we live in an age where everything is instant. I'm also a nutritionist. I help people lose weight to manage their weight and look fab. And a lot of people, a lot of clients who come to me have this, give me a quick diet plan. I want to lose weight fast. I'm getting married in 15 days time. Ye flat cheek. Everything that we do, think about it. We want instant gratification. We are looking for instant hacks. And we are trying to create, we are the Instagram generation, right? The instant generation. Everybody is into that reels. Nobody wants to read a book. How many of you read books over here? Raise your hand. Wow. A huge round of applause for yourself. I am really honored to be here amongst a crowd that actually reads books. Wow. This is a dying generation. Let's move ahead. Like I mentioned, we are, the impatient generation. Why do many people read books? Because it takes time, right? It's boring. कौन पढ़ेगा इतना यार? We want that 30-second read. So earlier, 25 years back, the attention span that a person had was maybe around 20 minutes. Today, unfortunately, that attention span has come down to 3.5 minutes. We tune out. It could be anybody. We tune out until and unless we are aware and bring back our focus. Let's move ahead. And the third challenge is that we are constantly distracted and interrupted by so many things, right? All our five senses giving us information at the same time. Right now, as you're listening to me, maybe your phone beeped and there was a message from your girlfriend or your boyfriend waiting in the canteen. How much more longer? We are constantly distracted and constantly interrupted by a lot of information coming. There's an information overload. Knowing what to filter out. Now, how does all of this connect to communication? I'm getting to that. Let's move ahead. So, just because we have many more channels of communication doesn't mean that that communication becomes effective. You, as bankers and as insurance professionals, are going to have a lot of channels of communication with your clients, with your peers, with your seniors, with your colleagues, with people who you are leading or managing. There are going to be a lot of channels, and there are a lot of channels, but that does not mean that it's improving the quality of communication. Does that make sense to you? Yes? More channels of communication does not mean more quality of communication. Let's go ahead. So, maybe a couple of million years ago, we just had two modes or channels of communication. People had body language and they had their voice. That's it. Next slide. Then, a few 100,000 years ago, we had spoken words. Certain words were invented that allowed people to communicate with each other. Next one. And just a few thousand years ago, very recently, we invented the language. So that makes it what, three different channels. Yeah, please move ahead. Then with the invention of electricity, we had a lot more that came in terms of communication. We had the television, we had the newspapers, we had the radio. Let's move ahead. And then came in the the fax, telephones, emails, SMS, Tinder, Twitter, left swipe, right swipe. All these have added to our channels of communication. All right, and it's ever increasing. I need to get in touch with you. I have 20 options. I can send you a message on Facebook. I can send an email to you. I can call you up. I can WhatsApp you. I can DM you on Insta. There's so many different channels available. Let's move. What I say today in this space is let's reclaim our analog communication. Let's get our basics right. Let's understand, and everything else that you have gathered in your education out here in this institute is going to fall into place. Just get back to the basics, face to face. Understand what analog communication is all about. Let's move ahead. So, over the years of experience, what I have gathered, there are a few truths, few basic generic truths to communication which you need to be aware of. The first one, we are always communicating. There is not a single moment when there is no communication happening. Even if you're silent right now, you are communicating something. Everything you say, you do, you wear, you try, you eat, whatever you are doing is making a statement about you. Very important to realize this. Basic. So if you are in a meeting and with your head in your phone, you're sending a message. And what is that message? The person who is talking to you is thinking, all right, so whatever is on that screen is more important than me. Am I right? Imagine doing that with your family, imagine doing that with your loved one, and God help you if you do that with your boss. Let's move ahead. Second truth, you cannot say what you mean. And I don't mean that you will not say what you mean. I mean to say you will not say, I'm sorry, you cannot say what you mean. Because our brains, we don't think in a linear way. Okay, our thoughts are not linear. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I have an important engagement to get to. We are running late. I have to be at a fashion show. Audi India is having a fashion show in Kamala Mills, which I have to reach. So a part of my brain is on that. Yeah, I have already made a commitment. I need to be there. Then there's another part of me thinking about, okay, yaar, lunch to hai nahi abhi tak hai. How will I accommodate this lunch? So we are not linear thinkers. There's a whole host of information clouding our information centers, and what comes out is a mixed interpretation of what I'm actually thinking and what I'm actually trying to say. But wait a minute, it gets worse. It gets more worse because at the same time, you have your filters. So what you're hearing right now, or whatever you take back with you as memories from this keynote, are going to be based on your filters. So imagine how much of the information, how much of the communication is getting diluted. All right, so let's move ahead. This is also a very important truth. You have the power to make people the way you want them to feel. And isn't that a great power? Imagine if I could make you feel the way that I want you to feel. Imagine the immense power you have. And each one of us has that power. And that comes from our thoughts, words, and actions. So if you are with somebody and you're just thinking, yeah, I need to go somewhere else, yeah, when will this guy stop? Or if you're thinking, or if you're doing something that is communicating, which is not part of that conversation, everything is creating a reaction. Very important thought to keep in mind when you are in a business context. Let's move ahead. Truth number 4. Let's do an exercise. Are you ready for it? 42 people are ready. Are you ready for this? Very nice. Okay. So now I spoke a lot about the subconscious mind, right? So I want you to very quickly, okay, without analyzing, let's put it in a context, okay? Let me put this in a context so it makes sense to you. Let's say you have a meeting with your client, okay? And this is supposed to be the CEO or the purchasing manager, and your boss has told you this is a very important client. We need to make sure that this person, we back this team. You're waiting at the, office door. You've booked a conference room. You're waiting for your team, these people to come in, and they walk in and they look at you, and the first few seconds they have formed an opinion about you. So here's where the exercise comes in. Don't change the slide yet. On the next slide, don't change it. You will see two people with different characteristics. I want you to very quickly, without analyzing, shout out which person you would like. Okay, whether it would be person A or person B. Alright? So the rule is no analyzing. Whatever you immediately decide, it has to come immediately within a second. Alright? Yeah, let's have the next slide. Quickly. Yes. So most of you said A, and then some of you started laughing कि यार दोनों में तो same है. But I say it's not the same. It's not the same because this is called the primacy effect, which is also known as first impression. The first impression of what hits you when you meet a person, and according to, let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Center for Body Language in Belgium. According to them, 70% of first impressions stay for life. Think about it. Another core truth. Your first impression you're creating with your client or your associate or your personal life engagements is going to stick for life. Be very, very careful out here. Let's move ahead. The fifth truth, which is very, very important again, it's more important to be interested than to be interesting. Most of us are engaged in what? I want to be interesting. I want to come across as efficient. I want the person to think I'm super good, I'm very knowledgeable, I have all this data, I'm very well read. But in a business context, in order to be likable, in order to create an impact, you need to be interested more than interesting. Does this make sense to you? Does this make sense to you? Yeah? Okay, let's move ahead. So you can be more interested by being more curious, asking questions, being present, and of course, showing interest in what the other person has to say. Let's move ahead. Next slide. So let's say you're sitting in your meeting and your phone suddenly beeps or flashes or vibrates. What's going to happen? You're going to be distracted. Yeah, because that's in our DNA. See, our ancestors, thousands of years ago, if they were walking down the forest and if there was a sudden branch, a sound of a branch cracking, all their attention would go to that. They would think that, oh, it's maybe somebody from my tribe who's coming to kill me, enslave me, steal my property, or maybe it's just another beautiful person who I can, exchange my DNA with. Right? Let's move ahead. So basically, it's in your DNA to react. The moment you're distracted, is just you've lost communication. So if you're in a conversation with somebody and your phone beeps or rings, you're not, of course, going to pick up the call. You'll have to again pick up the conversation because you've lost track. All right, let's move ahead. Truth number 6. Just go back. Sorry. Just go back. This is the final truth that I'm sharing with you, which is your body speaks louder than words. Let's do an exercise. All right, are you up for it? Yeah? I'm almost towards the end of this. I know it's lunchtime. All right. So let's do this quick exercise. Let's say you have managed to create a good impression. You're with your client. Now the last thing you want to come across is as arrogant, right? Am I right? Or would it be nice to come across as arrogant with your client? No, right? You don't want to come across as arrogant. So let's understand this. Now imagine you are, let's pair up two of you. Yeah. If you can just pair up with somebody next to you. I want you to look at the next person and just say, hi, nice to meet you. Okay? And it's not complete. Listen, let me complete. Now understand that the difference between looking normal and looking arrogant is just 1 inch. That's it. And I'll prove that to you in a second. Try doing this with your nose 1 inch in the air. Nice to meet you. Do that. Does that make sense to you? So your body language speaks louder than words. Whatever you are non-verbally communicating speaks louder than the words that you're using. Let's move ahead very quickly. Yes, next slide. Okay, next one, please. Also, there are a few other non-verbal cues. Now, let's say if you are giving a presentation. When you're giving a presentation, if your hands are, what does this denote in body language? Sorry? A little loudly, please. That I have a lot of words to speak. It also means that I am open to being vulnerable. It also means that I am inclusive. It also means I'm open-minded. So does that mean I'm going to keep my hands like this and talk to you? No. Because if I overdo it, then I come across as insecure and emotionally unstable. So I say, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to keep my hands like this. This is what I'm going to say. Now, what does this indicate? This indicates certainty. It indicates that I am making a point and this is what is the truth. But if I keep doing this, what is it going to do? It's going to throw the conversation off balance because I will come across as rude and insensitive to your opinions. So we need to balance it out. Let's move ahead. Yes, let's move ahead. Finally, eye contact. What is eye contact? Who can tell me? किसी को घूरना. What does eye contact mean? Okay, so now let's get to the point. What is the right amount of time you should be maintaining eye contact? And it is just 3 seconds. 3 seconds, and let me share a trick with you to maintain eye contact. You can maintain good eye contact by just looking at one eye of the other person. Alright? Very, very important cue. Most people are not aware of it. But let's get back to maintaining eye contact. Let's say there's the CEO and the purchasing manager and 3 other people sitting in front of you, and you are just maintaining eye contact with the CEO. Now that's going to send a message to the rest of the people there that they are not important, they will not feel included, they are going to tune out. Now the CEO who you are completely looking at and staring at is also going to get a message. She or he is going to get uncomfortable because since continuous eye contact also sends out 2 messages. It sends out a message either of aggression or lust. So either I want to kill you or I want to make babies with you. Both are not right in the business context. Right guys, let's move ahead. So that was about analog communication. Very quickly, let me just highlight to you for digital communication, how you're going to be enhancing your skills. Let's move ahead. Yeah, next slide please. Tip number 1, if you are if you have promised that you're going to do something, do it. And it's very, very important. Don't leave conversations hanging. So if there's a deadline to be met and you're running late, mention it. If you are having a customer or a client who is over demanding of you or the expectations are too much, make sure that you clarify this. See, because what happens, I'll just highlight to you in our brains, there are these different pathways, okay? The moment an expectation is not met, what is going to happen is that your centers in your brain for fear are going to light up and it's going to leave you uncomfortable. All right. And the final, let's move ahead. Yeah. Let's move ahead. Next one. How do you leave a good impression on people? By giving compliments. And let me tell you, sincere compliments. Very, very important. Because our brains have a radar for insincere compliments. The more sincere you are, the better impression you will create. Alright guys, so I hope this talk, I hope you have taken something from here today. Excellent, excellent, great. So this is not just a talk, this is basically a call to action so that you can implement this in your professional lives. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for spending your time with us and sharing your knowledge amongst all of us. Now, I would like to call upon the chairperson of this event, Ms. Shishmita Shaurya, for a word of thanks. Hello. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm beyond honored to have this opportunity to give the vote of thanks. So, at the very first, I would like to thank the management, the college, the trustees of our college, also the speakers who have taken their time to attend this session and to enlighten us about so many important things that are really essential in our day-to-day lives. Also, it could not be possible without the help of our coordinator, that is Mr. Nirav Goda, and our faculty and the whole BBI team. So, on behalf of my whole BBI family, I would like to thank one and all, everyone present here, including the speakers, the principals, and my dear audience, who have been so patient and been such a wonderful audience for this evening. Thank you so much. And now it's time to declare the Best College Award. So for that, I would like to call upon the faculty of BBI, that is Miss Ila Baglani, to felicitate. So the wait is over, and the Best College Award goes to SM Shetty College. The CEO of that college may come here to take the award.
वो किधर गया
So, SM Shetty College, you can give a shout out to the CA. Highest congratulations to SM Shetty College, and also thank you everyone from all the colleges for attending this event. And now you know that we are having a lunch that is arranged for you guys. So all the people who have their coupons can go down and have the lunch. Thank you.